Hi everyone, welcome to this presentation on the Metaverse. My name is David Siegel. In 2010, I wrote a book about the Metaverse, but we didn't call it the Metaverse back then. Now, I'm pleased to say we are finally starting to build a world I have been describing for 20 years. It brings together the best of VR, AR, blockchain, and standards to create an open platform that I think will be larger than the web itself. Mark Zuckerberg has said we will effectively transition from a social media company to being a metaverse company. Now, we can't trust everything Mark Zuckerberg says, but today almost 10,000 people at Facebook are now developing AR, VR devices, interfaces, and experiences. But what is the metaverse? The metaverse is simply the real-time, location-aware web. I'm going to define it much more broadly than you may have heard. The key is that it's all connected using open standards the way the web itself is. So this is one way to think of it. If everything is connected, then we have new experiences in the fictional realm, which is mostly games and worlds to explore. Then in the real world, some of these things will require goggles, but most of them won't. More and more will augment our experience, and many of those things will just be data feeds from the connected web. Now, we all know about online games, and some of you play immersive 3D environments wearing goggles. Fine. Many of you just play on your phone or computer screen, right? I would call that the multiverse. These are websites, games, and places you can go, log in, and enter that particular world. But each of them has to create logins, identity, security, avatars, points. They need a physics engine. They have to handle thousands of users simultaneously. So it's hard to create from scratch because you have to build so much infrastructure. But what if we turn this around and put the human at the center? What if you could just enter any online world and you're already logged in? You're carrying everything you need with you. This is the metaverse. Everything connects and you are at the center. If you saw Wreck-It Ralph, you might remember the power strip where the characters from one game could enter several different other games. The metaverse will be something like that. By building common infrastructure, it'll be much easier to build new worlds, so anyone can add on to what others are building. If you need to pay to go somewhere or do something, you can do that easily with money or tokens. Games will be a small part of it. Soon we'll create the real-time web in the real world. Now today, Google Earth can't show you anything happening in real time. It's static. Much of it is years old. Imagine Google Earth with all parts working and everything flowing in real time. The idea is to add real-time heat maps of traffic, pedestrians, construction, wind, noise, fire, smoke. You could look up and see in the sky and see the actual flights in the sky at that moment, even if you're in your basement wearing a pair of goggles, or all the drones. This is the real-time web, regardless of which device you use to experience it. Much of it will be digital twins of everything. So remember that phrase, digital twins. You're going to hear it many more times in the next few years. Things like cities. Launched in 2014 at a cost of over $70 million. Digital Singapore is a dynamic three-dimensional city model and collaborative data platform. It's already being used to help autonomous vehicles navigate and the port optimize traffic flows. The United Nations is committing to building a digital version of Earth as a platform for digital twins of cities, infrastructure, utilities, and supply chains. Hundreds of cities are now planning to build digital twins in the next few years. For the metaverse, there will be a set of standards that allow us to visit locations, spaces, and simulations easily. You'll teleport in space and time the way we use web links today. This is why it has to be open, not owned by any particular company. Over the next 10 years or so, I expect Facebook to sell more glasses than headsets and Apple to sell more wearables than handsets. Within 15 years, most people won't carry a handset. We'll mostly just interact with our environment and others using voice. It'll be easy to go back and forth between immersive and augmented environments. And this kind of immersive meeting experience could replace Zoom for many kinds of meetings, and Facebook is betting on it with their product Horizons. That's a small part of where we're going. We're going to go also towards autonomy and self-custody of assets, so we'll be able to do business without intermediaries. As an example, you could buy the rights to play a song as much as you like, but you could sell that token directly to someone else, and then you can't play the song, but he or she can. This can be done with real estate, securities, or any asset. So blockchain decentralization and disintermediation will be a big part of the metaverse, and that'll have a big effect on the legal system. We have a lot of work to do. Imagine designing a product and inviting all your vendors into a common workspace to collaborate. As the design evolves, it becomes a living digital environment for the product's entire life cycle. We have a few systems like that today at companies like Boeing and Dassault Systems, but they're proprietary and very expensive. In the metaverse, this kind of platform will be available to everyone, enabling large-scale collaboration. Now, where's your personal data? You don't have it. Your vendors have it. Your personal data is here. Okay? It's in your vendors, it's in your apps, and your vendors have control of it. Now, I have a separate video on this, but the personal data locker enables the shift from vendor push to consumer pull. And that's what my book is about, and that's why it's called Pull. You can see much more about this at giordano.institute, but I'm going to show you a few key parts of it right now. In this world, you keep your personal data, but you don't manage it. Instead, you pay a small amount every month to store it, and you hire a number of digital personal assistants to do your work for you. These are your digital employees. Some are managers, some are knowledge workers, some are task-oriented. Don't like your digital financial advisor? Fire it and get a different one in the open marketplace. I want to explain why openness is important. Today, a car could be just a block away from you, ready to take you to your destination. But if you don't have the right app, you can't find it. Even if you have all the apps, it would be hard to find that car. But an open platform lets drivers and riders find each other. Just tell your virtual assistant where you want to go, and the assistant will broadcast a request message, keeping you anonymous. Then the car companies and individuals will be able to send you offers to take you. And this is what I mean by pull. This isn't an economy of scale, it's an economy of choice. So new people can enter the market easily without gatekeepers, apps, and markets will set fair prices. This is what I call kayakizing the world. With Kayak, you specify where you want to go and when, time of departure, landing, airlines, class, type of seat, and all that. And the flights then come to you. The offers come to you. They're always sorted according to your wishes, not the algorithms. What if you could do that for everything? From finding a lawyer, to finding a babysitter, to ordering a pizza, getting a new insurance policy, a new car, a piece of art, or even a new phone. The idea is to create a nonprofit comparison engine, so whenever you're looking for anything, you just ask, and the answers come to you. No apps, no websites, no intermediaries, no big tech algorithms, and no advertising. This is the opposite of search, where today you have to do most of that hard work to find things you're looking for by hand. All right, now what if you own a Tesla? Tesla is a platform. You probably haven't read the end user license agreement from Tesla. And I'll tell you, you can do anything you want with your driving data except move it to another platform. Tesla owns your driving data. So if you have another car, you rent or borrow a car, you need to keep track of all your transportation data on several different systems manually. No one's going to do that. So we're trapped in our vendors' apps and ecosystems. Do you see that? In the metaverse, your personal data locker has your driving history, your entire driving history. You hire the algorithm that drives whatever car you're allowed to drive. It has a full record of everywhere you've been. It knows where home is. It knows where to pick up your kids from school. It can go pick up your groceries or your mother by itself. It's your data. your driving preferences, and it interacts with your insurance company to let you start your car in the first place. It's independent of the device, it's independent of the data, and you can replace your digital chauffeur if you find a better one anytime. Eventually, you'll have your own pilot, career coach, education coach, emergency medical team, dating coach, financial controller, lawyer, and much more. You'll have an entire team working for you around the clock. But it won't be humans. It'll be your team of personal digital AI assistants. They will live in the cloud, work for you when you sleep, and you can replace them anytime because you're paying for them. You're the boss. In 1994, I taught the first generation of web designers what a website was and how to build one. In 2021, there are a few thousand creators working on 3D immersive and connected experiences, but that number will become millions as we create new worlds, new data flows, and new possibilities. The hardware doesn't matter. Connections will be everywhere. What matters is your identity and your access to data. People think it's going to look like this, like a cacophony of visual cues is spewing forth all over the place in your glasses, but that doesn't make any sense. Most everything you might see like this is just noise. Instead, your personal assistant knows all the things you might be looking for or might be relevant to you, so you'll only see or hear about the few things that you may actually be interested in. Your bots will do all the filtering for you. In my view, the business model is the key. The advertising model, which began in 1833, has reached its peak in today's internet. Many companies get revenues from selling your behavior and your attention to advertisers. If you've seen the movie The Social Dilemma, you understand that this is a vicious cycle that limits our choices and gives advertisers the advantage. When the services are free, they're actually a lot more expensive than you think they are. In the world I want to create, you pay a bit to store your own data. You pay as you move through experiences, as you get data feeds, and as you use your own data to purchase goods and services that are best for you. In my world, there is zero advertising, which means that worldwide there will be a little bit less advertising. People will have a choice whether to get services for free, in which case they are the product, or to pay a small amount and be in control. One implication of all this is dematerialization. Glasses and wearables and embedded devices will help us interact with this online world. The only reason to go to a trade show or a business meeting will be if it's better than the digital alternative, and 80% of the time it won't be. If you think about it, what's important is our data, our identities, and our AI helpers. Once handsets are gone, there won't be any apps. The metaverse spells the end of the line for apps. That'll bring more and more power to individuals. It'll take some time, but Apple's trying to figure out what apps do in a world of wearables, especially earbuds. It might be early days, but it really has already started. Riot Games created a virtual metal band for the metaverse. A recent virtual event on the Wave platform drew 2 million viewers, averaging 45 minutes and 1,000 interactions per person. Sandbox has sold 10,000 plots of digital land in the last 6 months. Global digital game spending is already at $130 billion, while mobile advertising has broken through $200 billion. The next evolution will be real-time and connected. John Radoff's market map shows hundreds of companies already involved. Facebook, Google, Apple, Microsoft, and many more are investing heavily. New startups are springing up every day. There's even a Metaverse ETF already. In summary, the Metaverse is the real-time, location-aware web. It'll usher in a new era in games and online experiences, as well as digital twins and the real world of people, places, and things. It'll make people more self-sovereign and less reliant on big companies and governments. People will own their own data. We'll have good standards for things like digital identity. We'll form our own digital networks from our personal data lockers on our own terms, and the hardware will matter less and less. An open market of personal digital assistants will cause a Cambrian explosion of innovation that will benefit consumers rather than big tech companies. Apps are traps. The sooner we get rid of them, the better. The trend of dematerialization will accelerate. We'll be richer and better off and consume fewer physical resources. In short, I think the metaverse is the next evolution of the web itself. Software may be eating the world, but connectedness will change everything. If you want to learn more, subscribe to my channel on Medium. Visit my website at giordano.institute. You may even want to read my book, Pull. Thank you for your time and attention.